Council President, 7 o'clock.
All right. In accordance with Section 5 of the Open Public Meetings Act, Chapter 231, PL 1975, notice of this meeting was posted on the bulletin board designed for that purpose, and notice was transmitted to the official newspapers provided by resolution adopted January 4th, 2025. Meeting notice has also been continually posted on the borough website. Can I have a roll call, please?
Yes, Council President. Council President Morgan.
Here.
Councilwoman Phillips. Here. Councilman Otteson. Councilman Pagan.
Here.
Councilwoman Herron. And Councilman Damore.
Here.
Thank you.
All right. Please rise for the Pledge of Allegiance. Pledge allegiance.
Flag. United States of America. To the republic. One nation. Under God. Indivisible. Liberty and justice for all.
All right. We're not doing the moment of silence. It's not on the agenda, and I don't do it unless it's on the agenda. Or unless we have something to be silent about. All right. Next, we have public comment on agenda items only. If there's something on the agenda for this evening that you'd like to speak on, please come up to the microphone and state your name for the record. Seeing no movement, I will move on from this section of the meeting, and we will move on to the caucus work session. The first item is the JIF Safety Incentive Program presentation. Mr. Henry?
Thank you, Mr. Morgan. Good evening, everybody. Good to see you again.
Hello.
For those of you that were here last year, I was here last year to do basically the same thing, but a different topic. As a member of the JIF, it's required to discuss safety on the agenda at least once a year. So we develop a topic, share it with you, share it with the safety committee, which I would like to say that you do have a very active safety committee here. They meet 4 times a year as a requirement by the JIF. Biggest thing that we really get out of that is the accident investigation, that we look into things that happen so they don't happen again. So without further ado, I will jump into this year's topic. As you can see, it's heat injury and stress prevention, because I can assure you it's going to get really hot this summer. If you can recall how bad it was last year. So I have another reason to get into this as I move along. I'll tell you. So heat's the leading cause of death among all weather-related phenomena in the U.S. It's long been recognized as an occupational hazard. Excessive heat can cause illness to your employees, and in worst case scenario, death can occur. Quite simply, in excessive heat conditions, your workers are at risk. The OSHA Act of 1970 simply states that as an employer, you are required to provide a safe environment free of hazards for your employees. Since 2021, OSHA has been developing a heat injury and illness prevention standard. And when I use the word standard, it is basically a law, so you'll have to follow that. It is expected to be finalized prior to the summer of this year, so it will be here. Even without that standard in place, OSHA inspectors have something called a general duty clause, that if they find something when they come out and do an inspection and find anything that is dangerous at your workplaces, they can cite you for that. So the purpose of a heat stress policy is to recognize a danger in your working in excessive heat, assessing the situation, and controlling the workplace so that your employees are no longer in danger. 2 ways we can do it: administratively and with your supervisors, and they work collectively already. I know that. Best case scenario I can say is in typically when you have excessive heat, you'll start your employees outside typically around 6 o'clock instead of 8 o'clock, and finish up at 2 as opposed to 4. So that would be the modified work schedule. You can rotate job assignments Self-pacing and extra breaks would be very, very important, and incorporate a buddy system. And I'd like to bring to your attention an incident that happened in Atlantic GIF last year with the buddy system. It really works. It's very effective, and it should be stressed in toolbox talks. There was I don't want to call him elderly because I'm older than what he was, but an experienced municipal employee, very valuable, very dedicated gentleman, was not feeling well, but didn't want to stop working. One of his fellow employees went to the boss and said, "Hey boss, Charlie's not looking well. I think we need to do something." They instructed him to go get in the shade, get hydrated. He didn't want to, but he did. He finally complied. They checked on him. He didn't look like he was getting a whole lot better. So they called 911, and it was determined that he did suffer a mild heart attack. So had he continued to push on as he wanted to do, it could have been much more serious. So that's where the buddy system really comes into play. It's very important. Your supervisor will have some responsibilities, as I mentioned, scheduling the most strenuous activities before or after the hottest parts of the day, provide water and shade, monitor those breaks, and monitor employees for signs of dangerous heat stress, as I just mentioned. Also, periodically review your policy to ensure it meets regulatory standards, and I'll touch on that as we move on here. Ensure training is happening. Consider altering starting times. Be aware and monitor local weather. What you want to do is get out in front of this, get a reputable weather channel if you can find one, and make sure that you know how hot it's going to be and see that you've got those safety measures in place already. The employees will also have some responsibilities. Attend, participate in training when it's scheduled. And I say training as a member of the GIF. Any training you do is free to you, no charge through the GIF as a member, and anything you could possibly imagine training-wise for a municipality, it is available to you. Encourage your teammates to follow the program. You want them to monitor themselves and their teammates and take appropriate action when you see it, as they did in Atlantic County. You want to designate an employee to schedule training, ensure that training conforms to the heat stress policy, and deliver that training. And all this, hydration is the key. Employees must have access to drinking water. 2 gallons of water per employee will be the recommendation, and frequent drinking of water should be encouraged. And we know that they like to bring their own, but you will be required, in the standard to supply water also. There are some cooling mechanisms I show you here on page 11. You could just take a quick look. You can always get out of the shade, and if you're in Haddon Heights, so I know there's plenty of trees available, right? So they can always take shelter under a tree. Closing down here, 3 types of heat illness: cramps. We've all suffered from cramps. If you get hydrated and you take a break, in all likelihood, you'll be fine and ready to go. Heat exhaustion, what the training will do is show you what those symptoms are, such as headache, nausea, dizziness, weakness, and heavy sweating. We want to recognize those so they don't morph into a heat stroke, which can be fatal in worst case scenario. So from your safety committee standpoint, the health and welfare of your employees is paramount. Their objective is to see that everybody goes home to their family safely the way they came to work. OSHA standards are designed to make that happen. And as a GIF safety consultant, J.A. Montgomery is your partner in achieving this goal. That's a safety consultant that comes to your safety meetings as well. Their safety team has developed a template to comply with the OSHA heat and illness requirements. That's available on the website. It's a fillable form. You simply pop in Haddon Heights, you print it, you put it with your other policies. And if you do have a OSHA inspection, it's available. I'm sure they'll want to see that along with all your other policies. So on that note, I will close. Thanks again for the opportunity to serve as your RMC. If there's any questions related to this or your safety committee, I'll be happy to answer those for you. If not, I'll get out of your way. I hope I got an answer.
Is there a certain temperature where it really starts becoming dangerous?
It is. And I did not include that table in here because it is very, very confusing. OSHA is working on that to simplify it. There's an index. Yes. Yes.
I would assume June, July, August, goes that.
Well, it can really cook in September. So it's going to, oh, you mean as far as when it's going to be done?
If you go to page 5,
Mhm.
part about being over 200 pounds.
I didn't bring that up. I didn't.
But let's just suppose it did. Is there a time when I have to wait July to get under 200?
I don't think you're going to experience too many days outside, Counselor. I think you're safe.
Well, we know he doesn't have any trees on his property, so don't go outside.
You're welcome. You're welcome. Thanks a lot. Okay,
Thank
have a
you.
good night.
Thank you. Take care.
All right, next up, thank you. Next up is the MEL elected officials training.
So you all might recall, except for Chad, that we typically conduct the elected officials training through the MEL. We try to do that collectively about a half an hour prior to a council meeting to make it convenient for everyone so that you're not all having to log in and do the training. Howard has kindly agreed to April 15th, which is our next meeting at 6:30 p.m. You can fit it in a half an hour, correct, Howard? Sure. Okay. And this way we can just sort of knock it out and get everybody to sign. And we get that out of the way. For each member who completes the training, there is $250 off of our assessment. So it's well worth everyone doing, and it's also required. But so I'll send out. I have not specifically looked at. I believe it's the same training. It's probably the same training. I haven't looked at it yet, though. I have to. That's correct. Specifically for elected officials. Yeah. Yeah. Okay. And then
You're on fire
you want me to
tonight.
go on? Okay. So regarding the 2025 financial disclosure statement filing, so everybody probably received the email from me on Friday. You have 30 days to complete the training by April. I'm sorry, it's not training. To complete your financial disclosure statement. It's pretty easy to do. Yeah, Howard was nearly number one. Actually, Tom Otteson. Yes,
Was Kate.
Councilman Otteson.
Oh, I underestimated you, Tom. Good job, Tom.
So anyway, just, sort of doing it sooner rather than later prevents you from, forgetting or whatever. It's maybe easy to forget. So we just want to make sure that we're doing that. And Councilman DeMore, I don't know if you've read it yet. Okay, so it's in your email, and you can give me a call if you have any questions at all. But there's yeah. There's a step-by-step local finance notice that's attached to the email that will sort of explain everything, but we've been updated on the roster. And again, any questions, you can give me a call. Okay? And that's
He
it for
should be
me.
here back.
All right, next up, we have the fountain.
Okay. I went to HPC and showed them a rendering of potential fountains. They liked the idea, so I got their blessing. So the next step is, I talked to Mike last week. We just have to get the two quotes with changes to the different pedestal method, and then take the lowest bidder. He said we could pay for it, and then I just have to sell all the utilities. So those are the next steps. So that's, we should be able to hopefully get, as long as the vendor can do it, we'll get it done next.
Good job. Thank you.
All right, thank you, Councilmember Otteson. All right, so next we're going to move on to the approval of the minutes for the March 18th, 2025 business meeting. Can I have a motion to approve the minutes? Is there a second? All in favor?
Aye.
Any nays or abstentions? Okay, that's passed.
No executive session minutes, I apologize.
All right. Next up, we have the Borough Engineers Report.
Good evening, everyone.
Evening, Craig.
Hi, Craig.
We submitted our written report. Just want to give you a couple highlights. The on-call maintenance contract that was awarded at the March council meeting We're getting the contracts executed, and once they're done, we'll start. One aspect of that contract is resetting of manhole castings throughout the borough. So that's going to be the first thing that we're going to get started on. We'll sit down with the DPW and Mike Mansdorfer and pick out some manholes throughout town that desperately need to be reset. And those will be the first things we take care of under that contract. Secondly is the 2024 road program, East High and Maple. They're on the schedule to get paved next week. All the residents will be re-notified at least 48 hours prior to paving. So those notifications should be coming out. And that's all I got, unless there's any questions.
Just a quick question with regard to the manhole castings. Is there going to be any, I don't know, any idea how long it's going to take per manhole? Like, is it going to interfere with traffic in any way?
They could get done 3 or 4 a day, so it should be pretty quick.
Okay.
But that also depends on where exactly the manhole will be. So if it's in the middle of an intersection, that could complicate things, or if it's on a county road or a state road, that'll definitely complicate things. So once we sit down with DPW and Mike, we'll have a better idea of how long each one will take, but they could get a couple done a day.
Great. Thanks.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Moving on to unfinished business, there is none, so we will move on to new business. First is the introduction of bond ordinance 2025-1569, bond ordinance authorizing the acquisition of various capital equipment and the completion of various capital improvements in and for the Borough of Haddon Heights, County of Camden, New Jersey, appropriating the sum of $2,787,547, therefore authorizing the issuance of general obligation bonds or bond anticipation notes of the Borough of Haddon Heights, County of Camden, New Jersey, in the aggregate principal amount of up to $2,137,500, making certain determinations and covenants, and authorizing certain related actions in connection with the foregoing. Public hearing and final adoption of bond ordinance 2025-1569 is scheduled for Tuesday, April 15th, 2025 at approximately 7:00 p.m. in the municipal building located at 625 Station Avenue, Haddon Heights, New Jersey. Next, we have Resolution 2025-103, resolution of the Borough of Haddon Heights. All right, so, yeah. Can I have a, I'm sorry, yeah, all right, so, okay, right, yeah, all right, can I have a motion to introduce bond ordinance 2025-1569? Is there a second? Can I have a roll call vote, please?
Yes, Council President Morgan,
Yes.
Councilwoman Phillips.
Yes.
Councilman Otteson. Councilman Pagan.
Yes.
Councilwoman Herron. Councilman Demore. Thank you.
Madam Clerk, on page 2 of that ordinance, right now this comes from bond council. On an A, on the description, improvements and projects, A.
Yep.
Page 2, it says township. Or
Okay. Yep, we'll fix it. Yep.
Look at you with the proofread.
never done it again.
It wasn't his ordinance.
Because there are never any mistakes with his ordinances,
Correct, right.
An argument that used to be a township, so it should be townships.
All right. All right, next is Resolution 2025-103, resolution of the Borough of Haddon Heights, Camden County, authorizing the execution of redevelopment agreement, St. Mary's 18 White Horse Pike LLC. Resolution 2025-104, resolution authorizing acceptance of a tree easement agreement by and between White Horse Pike, or WHP Haddon Heights Urban Renewal LLC and the Borough of Haddon Heights. Resolution 2025-105, resolution authorizing a refund of a community center rental fee. Tiers. Resolution 2025-106, resolution authorizing a bingo license for the Sons of Italy for the purpose of conducting a designer bag bingo event on May 2nd, 2025. Resolution 2025-107, resolution authorizing payment of bills and claims for the first half of April. Can I have a motion to approve these resolutions? Is there a second?
Second.
Mm-hmm.
Can I have a roll call vote, please?
Yes, Council President Morgan.
Yes.
Councilwoman Phillips.
Yes.
Councilman Otteson. Councilman Pagan.
Yes.
Councilwoman Harron? Councilman Demore? Thank you.
All right, next, we will open up the meeting for public comment on anything at all. If you'd like to, if there's something you want to say or ask, please feel free to come up to the microphone and state your name for the record. Seeing no movement, I will close the public comment section of the meeting. And next, we will move on to adjournment. Can I have a motion to adjourn? Is there a second? All in favor?
Aye.
All right, we are adjourned.
Not to you.